So today we're going to talk about manufacturing overhead, and I'll be honest, I changed it into a t-shirt because this one's a little bit more challenging. It's a concept, you grasp the concept, you'll understand how to do the accounting. So talking about MOH, we talk about overhead. It is a cost to the manufacturing, and it is something that impacts your work in process. Again, that's where you're adding value to inventory. The direct material and the direct labor that's happening to WIP, very easy. You can see the item pass from the raw materials, pass from direct material to WIP. You can see the work being done on the assembly line as direct labor. But MOH kind of happens sporadically. I mean, you're just left with a little bit of a challenge. It's tough to match directly. That's why it's indirect. You talk about indirect labor. That's your quality control supervisor. How much of their time really is supervising the production. You look at your indirect materials, how much glue really is in that piece, that product there. Then you talk about utilities. I mean, can you imagine being the guy that you get pulled into a room, you have to look up at the lights of a manufacturing plant, and someone says, exactly how many kilowatts are going through these wires right now? It's a tough job. So we're just going to estimate. That's what we need to do. And so we're going to estimate or apply it to WIP to match it up. The entry is debit your WIP, credit your MOH, and you can see over there in the bottom right-hand corner, MOH applied is always over on the credit side of MOH. So how do we actually go about applying it? I'll actually show you an example here in a moment. But it's a guess. It's a guesstimation. Usually you're using historical data and running off of that. If you apply it wrong, it's basically guaranteed you're going to apply it wrong. And that's okay. What you do is you end up adjusting your cost of goods sold in the end. You hope you're close. If you're over-applied, it means you overestimated. You'll decrease your cost of goods sold. And if you're under-applied, then you need to increase cost of goods sold. So what do we do? How do we do the journal entry? Well, that's where this comes in now. So let's take a look at this problem here. Let's assume ABC Company has a cost pool that varies with the number of machine hours used in production, another varies with the number of production runs, and they must estimate the machine-related costs and the number of machine hours they will use in the coming period. They also must estimate the production run costs and how many production runs will be required for the coming period. So the machine-related costs are estimated, big word there, estimated, to be $500,000, and the machine hours are estimated at 50,000, and that production run costs are estimated to be 400,000, and that 400 production runs will be required. So if I'm taking a look at the cost per machine hour, I'm going to take that $500,000 and divide by the 50,000 estimated hours that I've got there, and we'll see that I'm estimating each hour is $10. Is that 100% correct? Probably not, but that's okay. And the next estimate then is I got to do production run. Well, I'm estimating the $400,000. This is how I'm going to get my applied rate. And I'm estimating 400 production runs, so my rate, or my estimated applied rate, is $1,000 per production run. Now I can see I actually had some activity. So during the month, you can see each of the weeks, break it down. You can see the number of machine hours used and the number of production runs used. So my machine overhead is going to be $8,000, or 8,000 hours times 10, or $80,000 for my first week. My production run overhead, this is all applied at this point, is going to be the 125 times 1,000, or 125,000. And then you can do each of the other weeks the same way, and you'll end up with week 2 with 84,000 machine overhead applied, and week 3 85,000 machine overhead applied, and week 4 88,000 machine overhead applied. And then over on the production run side of things, we've got week 2 $100,000 production run overhead applied, 80 grand applied, and 130,000 applied. So in total, I'm going to apply $772,000. So I see two T accounts here. I got my WIP, I've got my MOH, actual over on the right side, over on the debit side, applied over on the credit side, and I'll go ahead and put cost of goods sold on here for analysis purposes. You can see my MOH applied is going to be 772,000. So adding up those two, 772. WIP, I'd go ahead and pop it into the WIP, 772, and that's going to flow from there to finished goods into cost of goods sold. And now I get to the ending here. Well, what happens if I'm wrong? What if I don't have the exact same amount? And this is very common. Well, maybe I'm going to have to make an adjustment. So let's say I actually, and I'm just pulling this number, had MOH costs, and usually you find out this 2 or 3 weeks after the fact, of $800,000. Well, obviously I under-applied, I underestimated. And so whatever number I have here in cost of goods sold, I am also going to debit it 28,000 here, because I need to credit 28,000 into my applied. So this is a way to close out the applied account, the MOH applied account, and go ahead and move it into cost of goods sold. Hopefully this makes some sense. If you have questions, please let me know, and we'll continue to build as we go.